Guys, I don't know how a lot of the other sessions went. I went to a couple, but I very much want this to be interactive. I want you to ask questions. Even if you're all the way in the back, ask a question. And do it intra-presentation. Do it on the slide that you have a question about, because I get a little deep on some of these. I do math. I'm sorry for doing math on the third day of Affiliate Summit. But I do math on some of these slides. I'm going to go through it a little bit, but it can be a little confusing if you just don't understand it overall. So please do ask questions on a particular slide. All right, so this is showing that we won a lot of awards. All right, so this is the difference between advertiser and affiliate. Forgive me for all you veterans, but there's a really important point here that I want to make sure that I make. We say recruit affiliates, get bloggers, get influencers, get these people. The word affiliate's a little bit of a misnomer. It's not used correctly, in my opinion. These affiliates are businesses, they're websites, right? Or they're Facebook groups, or they're many different things, and they have many ways of monetizing their site. And that's just really important to know, because if you report to a director of marketing, and they say, why aren't you getting more bloggers? Why aren't you getting more influencers? It's because those bloggers and influencers, you're not only competing against competitive affiliate programs, but you're also competing against different monetization methods. For example, banner sales, sponsored posts, AdSense, and Amazon. So I want to take a moment and talk about Amazon for a second. I sat in a session earlier today where they said that Amazon isn't as competitive for bloggers, and I very much disagree with that. Amazon is very easy. You can promote a very widespread number of products by being an Amazon associate. So huge, huge, huge number of products that you can promote. And the way I like to explain this is, if you have a product, do we have any advertisers in the room? Yes? Do you mind telling me the type of product that you sell? The type of product?
A whole basket of them.
I'm sorry?
A whole basket of them. So many different verticals.
Oh, many different verticals? Let's say you sold widgets, okay? Just the perennial widget example. So if you sell widgets and they are an average of $100, and you also sold that widget on Amazon and it was $100, people will also add other things to that basket, right? Only makes sense. So they're going to add, let's say, I always like to use TV and a toaster as an example. So they might add a TV and or a toaster to that. So inherently, their average order value is going to be higher. So now they have a higher average order value than you are going to have directly, right? Are you Sarah? Yes. This is for you, yes. Actually, what I'm saying right now. So they're going to have a higher average. We're talking about Amazon and why they are a competitive that. I was in that session earlier where they said they weren't. So anyway, they're going to inherently have a higher average order value, right, because of that TV and that toaster that they add to that cart. They convert typically at 5%, and their commissions are competitive, right? So if you're an affiliate and you can make more money, and I'll show you exactly the calculations behind that in a second, with an Amazon Associates program, right, why on earth would you promote the merchant directly? And that's the question that you got to ask there before you start reaching out to these affiliates. Now, that session earlier today talked about the relationship. I agree completely. You have to have a fantastic relationship with these influencers and bloggers, but that's not going to pay their bills. They are, like I said a couple seconds ago, they're a business. They need to make money. They need to feed their families. And so relationship alone isn't going to cut it, right? So if you have a fantastic relationship and they can make more money on Amazon, they're going to do so. All right. So EPM, if you haven't heard this acronym before, it stands for earnings per thousand. And if you don't know why, most of you do, I know, but the M stands for 1,000 in Roman numerals. That's why it's earnings per thousand. So I said before that there's multiple monetization methods, right? So display, sponsored posts, AdSense, affiliate offers. As an affiliate, and this goes to you, this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier with the newspaper stuff, you're going to take a look at it and say, how much am I earning for every eyeball that sees my site? That's what EPM means. How much am I earning for every eyeball that visits my site? Make sense? The hard part is there's different ways that you get paid for each of these monetization methods. So some affiliates will actually do these calculations. Some of them won't. But even the ones that won't, at the end of the day, they're looking at how much they're making, right? And so you have to take this approach to make sure that you're compensating them appropriately, okay? So I also threw in EPC in here. That's different people use that metric in different ways. Here it's earnings per 100 clicks. Some other people use it earnings per single click. So just make sure that if you see it anywhere, that you're considering those different definitions of that product. All right, so banner sales. The EPM's easy. If you're getting a $5 CPM, you're making $5 EPM. Easy, simple. Sponsored posts. If somebody gets paid $500, I'm going to jump down so you can point at some of this stuff particularly. If somebody gets paid $500, and by the way, this math can be much more simplified, but I did it this way to make it easy to show the steps that it took. Does that make sense? So if anybody in here is a math major and say, Mike, you can cross out the zeros, and I know, I promise. But I did this way just to make it easy to understand exactly how you get this calculation. So if they get $500 for a sponsored post, and let's say they get 100,000 impressions, all of these are based off of 100,000 impressions. That's half a cent per impression times 1,000 impressions. That means your EPM is $5. So similar to the banner. Does that make sense? I'm going to pause because I've been accused of talking too fast on this slide before. Okay. And for the people that join, feel free to ask questions during the presentation. All right, AdSense. Now we're getting a little bit more complicated, right? We're adding in a second metric, which is the per click, and the click-through rate, right? So what do I mean by click-through rate? If we have 1,000 impressions on the site, and we have a 2% click-through rate, that means 20 people actually clicked on those ads. Does that make sense? Okay. So going through those calculations again, we have to add click-through rate in there, and the earnings per click, $1,000 per revenue, ends up being a $10 EPM. Okay? Easy, right? Sort of. Now let's talk about affiliate. On average, let's say you're paying 10%. I think 10% in the industry today is a high commission percentage. And one of the things that really irks me about affiliate marketing, and not on my side, it's more for the affiliates, it's just not fair. They get paid so low. And when you ask an advertiser, how did you come up with that affiliate commission? Where did you come up with that? Everybody says, oh, I looked at my competitor, right? And I'm not going to ask people to raise their hands and say, yeah, I did that. But think about that. And think about the programs that you joined and how they actually came to that number, okay? And especially in the context of comparing to the other monetization methods, why are you willing to pay a $10 EPM to an AdSense, right, via AdSense, a non-guaranteed pay-per-click channel, and a much lower EPM to a guaranteed pay-for-performance commission-based sale? That makes no sense, right? So if you're an advertiser and you're looking for a reason to go to your manager and say, I need to increase affiliate commissions, this is the math, and this will be available. You guys can copy this verbatim, please. I want to be the tide that lifts all boats, right? So please do this to help your programs. All right, so I'm sure while I was talking, you guys weren't paying attention, and we're doing this math in your head to come out to the $6 EPM. But the difference here is you still have the click-through rate, but instead of the 50 cents per click on the AdSense, now we're introducing the average order value and the commission percentage, right? So we're bringing all those things in there, which brings you to a $6 EPM. Now, 10% I think is a little bit generous. I'd say the average affiliate program pays between 5 and 8%. But again, that's only because their competitors did it that way. 3% conversion rate I think is also a little generous. Typical average conversion rates is 2%, except on Amazon. Again, Amazon converts at typically 5%, right? So now, let's just say on average 2.5% for every other retailer, or you guys, anybody in the audience, if they're converting at 5%, you are already at a disadvantage. If they're converting at twice as much as you are, and their average order value inherently, because it's your product plus others, is going to be higher, how do you compete with that? And so that's what we're talking about today. That's why your EPM matters. Because if you're a business person, you're looking at how do I make as much money as I possibly can? And Amazon is a big reason why a lot of affiliates aren't joining your program. All right. This is, I actually talked a little bit about this, but how did you get your affiliate commissions? Because you were looking at your competitors. But think about this for a second. Does anybody in the room run paid search for their clients? Or run paid search for your, yep, okay. How do you, and you don't have to answer, this is a bit of a rhetorical question, I know the answer. Think about the return on ad spend. Typically, paid search is measured off of what's called return on ad spend. For every dollar, how many dollars am I getting back in sales? So I personally worked at Google for 4 years. I know how AdWords, how people measure their AdWords, and the typical return that they were looking for was $2 to $3 for every dollar in spent. $2 to $3. If you take that and equate it to a cost of sale percentage, that's between 33 and 50%. So on a non-guaranteed paid search channel, they are willing to pay between 33 and 50%. On a guaranteed pay for performance channel, you're getting between 5 and 8%. Why? And the answer goes all the way back to the beginning of people trying to push that ROAS down and looking at your competitors to get yours. And that's why I was sitting on a panel with a bunch of network owners, AvantLink, ShareASale, CJ, and some of the others. And they said, why did we miss the influencer boat? And one of them said, we didn't miss the boat. It's still there. It's there for the taking. But they're getting paid on a sponsored post. They're taking that. We have to show them the math on how we can get them better than that in order to win the space on their site. If we can't compete with this, if we can't compete with AdSense, we can't compete with Amazon, why on earth would they promote our program? Does that make sense? Great. All right. So this is just a repeat of the previous slide, but I want to show you. So I'm going to answer my own question. A, you should compensate them appropriately compared to the other channels. However, here's the beauty of affiliate marketing. While it's more complex, there's more things you can work on, right? So if you work on them and say, OK, we're going to give you a 20% commission instead of a 10. We're going to work on conversion rate because we're going to give you a coupon for a greater than $400 order when our average order is $300. And let's say we're going to create you a landing page that's going to have your logo and be more welcoming and have a congruent message from when you send it from your site saying, welcome Blogger X customers. That is a congruent message for them. So you're going to help increase conversion rate and so on. Let's say the click-through rate stays the same, because let's just say that the Blogger doesn't change that at all. And the average order value goes up to $120, let's say, right? So with just 20% of sale, actually the conversion rate stayed the same in this example, and the AOV went up only $20, you can see we went from a $6 EPM to a $14 EPM. That's why it matters. That's why your commission percentage matters. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on that before I move on? OK, so one of the most common questions I get after explaining that math to people, Mike, how do I show that? Oh, but Mike, affiliates are only coming in at the last second and taking credit for the sale. I would argue the same for trademark searches on paid search, right? That's the exact same thing. Well, this is how. So there's 2 reports within Google Analytics that you need to get very familiar with. The first is top conversion funnels. So this will show you, this is already built into your Google Analytics. It's on the free version, not the premium, although you get additional benefits with the premium version. But you can see, actually, the path that people are taking to a purchase on your site. So this is an example of one of our clients. The #1 path of them getting customers, they start with affiliate. Not end, but start with affiliate. And this is a program that I would say is 90% influencers, just predominantly influencers. And that's why they're generating the awareness, right? They're starting the conversation about your program. Look, and here's an example of what I was saying before. Trademark is the PPC version of that, right? All right, so the other one is attribution. It's called the model comparison tool. within Google Analytics, you can say, OK, what if I changed credit for all of my sales within Google Analytics to first in instead of last in? And if I did that, what percentage is going to go up? So here's an example. If we changed it to who got credit to introduce the customer to our website, the Avant Link affiliate program would get 45% more credit. Take those two numbers to whoever it is that you have to convince, and they're going to let you increase your commission percentage. Does that make sense? Great. All right, reason number 2, you got to make it easy. This is where the relationship, so again, there was a previous session. This is where the relationship comes in, knowing what they want. If they're a blogger, you have to provide them with high quality photos. Write an article on their behalf. We were just talking yesterday about writing articles for our affiliates. So let's take this all the way back for a second. If our normal conversation, we reach out to an affiliate or a blogger and we say, hey, we want you to promote our affiliate program. They say, great, 99 times out of 100, here's my media kit. I want $500. I mean, 99 times out of 100, that's what they say. Of course they do. It's easy. They don't have to do math. They know that they're going to get paid. Of course. Our response is to show them how we get through that math and actually make them more money, right? What if part of the negotiation was, well, we'll make it easy for you. We know that part of the reason why you need $500 is because you need to spend 3 hours writing an article about our product. What if we provided the article for you? What if we provided a sample of the product? So now that $500, you're not spending 3 hours on it. Let's value that at $50 an hour. That's $350. We're going to give you $100 in free product. That's $250. So we'll give you $250 plus commission on whatever you sell. That's how you work and make it easy for affiliates to join your program. So here's an example. We had a web hosting client that came to us, and they wanted to get on CNET. They said that that's like their holy grail. If we can get them on CNET, they're going to be ridiculously happy. So, of course, we start out trying to get to CNET. Find their contact information. These are all affiliate offers on CNET. This is my email. I'm not going to read it directly to you. But basically what I did was I looked at exactly what they were showing. I said, hey, it looks like you need a logo of this size. You need a headline of this length. You need a description of X length. And you need a special offer that's going to be exclusive to you and potentially be best of web. That's what you need. So I said, hi, I hope, she was busy. That's why I said things have slowed down for you. I basically said, here's the logo. Here's the suggested verbiage. Here's the offer that we're getting for you exclusive to CNET. Here's your exact link that all you need to do is copy and paste and put on your site. Her reply, hi, actually things have gotten more busy or busier, but your email made it so much easier to get this live, it's done. That was her reply to my email. And this is me. I did that, by the way. This is Michael. You got to make it easy. So here's a list of just things that I think you can do. Again, I don't want to read down the list, as you guys can read, and you can have access to this afterwards. But just to kind of talk a little bit about these different things, samples are huge. One of my favorite examples, before managing affiliate programs, I was an affiliate. And one of my favorite examples of somebody coming to me, they called me on the phone, and I'm like, darn, they got me, right? They got me on the phone, and they said, hey, Mike, I'm the affiliate manager for, I forget what it was, but like a healthy breakfast bar. And he said, I'm going to send you a package. I just want you to try it. Don't worry about it. If you don't like it, you don't have to promote it, anything. So I said, OK, fine, send them here. Well, who doesn't want the free stuff? So they sent it to me. I took a bite. They were awful. They were just disgusting, these breakfast bars. And he said, on the call, he said, I'm going to follow up with you in a week to see what you think. So I ate the breakfast bars, disgusting. He followed up with me in a week, and he's like, hey, I just wanted to follow up like I promised that I would. We're going to offer you an increased commission of this much to promote our program. He didn't ask me how I liked them, and I'm glad that he didn't, because I would have told him I wasn't a fan. But I did tell him, OK, I will promote your offer, right? Because he went through so much pain. It's the law of reciprocity. If anybody here hasn't read Robert Cialdini, his book Influence, it talks about how the monks in the airport, as you were walking by, they would press a flower into your hand because it would make you feel required to give them a donation back, right? Same thing here. He pressed those disgusting bars into my hand, and I ate them, and I felt required to give back. Okay, so, and this was touched on a little bit on the other session as well, but consider retweeting and sharing their posts. Just be careful a little bit with that, because if you do it for one, you have to do it not for all, but for anybody that you care about that's valuable to you. So make sure. And this is just an important point. There comes a time in every retailer's life, hopefully, that they reach this tipping point where every affiliate wants to run and join their affiliate program, right? And that's Best Buy, that's Macy's, that's Amazon. Chances are it's probably not many of you in this room. And I'm sorry to be the one to break it to you, but that's probably the case. So you have to pay for that attention, or you have to give them something that those other people aren't, that's going to have them give you the attention that would otherwise go to them. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So this is really important, and now we're getting a little bit into the nitty-gritty of how commissions work. Okay, so this is really important, and I'm going to go back a little bit to this slide here, and this one. So you can see here that the affiliate was 45% of the time was first interaction. You can see it listed right here, right? It would be a 45% increase. If you are one of those advertisers that says, if it touches any other marketing channel before it checks out, do not pay commission. Well, that means that 45% of the time you're not compensating the affiliate for that sale who generated that sale. I can't say this enough. The spirit, oh, there it is. The spirit of the program has to be to reward affiliates. You have to want to pay them. If your mindset is, how can I pay as little as possible for this pay-for-performance program, affiliate marketing is probably not for you. You're going to get exactly the type of affiliates that can actually make money off of that, and those aren't the ones that are going to bring value to you. Point blank. All right, so here's an example of what that looks like. In this example, this is within ShareASale, actually. They have, on the reporting, you can see the different touch points. All of these different color circles are actually different affiliates. So that's not even taken into account the other marketing channels, potentially paid search, SEO, and so on. But you can see already there were 4 touches on this one sale before it occurred, right? So now that green one, you can see that the purple is all the same one. The green one is a different affiliate that kind of swooped in there at the end and got credit for that sale. How would that make you feel if you were the purple guy? Right? The spirit has to be to compensate the people that are bringing the value. And that those people that are bringing the value are bloggers and influencers that are generating the awareness for your program. I showed that to you on this slide. Oops. This is where they're coming from. And that could be your program. So nobody's come up and asked questions yet. All right, so how do we reward the high-value affiliates? Use networks with attribution and commission splitting technology. There are 2 that do those 2 things. I'm sure there are more, but the 2 that we work with the most are AvantLink and ShareASale. AvantLink and ShareASale. If you're a blogger or an influencer in this room, join those 2 networks. Reward them for making it easy for advertisers and agencies like us to pay you and reward you for your work. You deserve it, okay? So you can actually set up rules within those networks where basically you say, okay, I'm tagging this particular affiliate as a closer because they always come in at the end according to my analytics. So I'm only going to compensate them a smaller portion of the commission because they never bring me new business. Now, somebody like, I'll give you an example, like a Slick Deals, they are fantastic at bringing in new customers and generating awareness about your program, right? I've run this report on somebody like a Slick Deals, something like 66% increase if they got credit for the first interaction. That's huge value, especially if you're not Macy's or Amazon or Best Buy, okay? So with those other networks, you can actually say, okay, for these influencers, I'm going to tag this person as an influencer, and I'm going to say, anytime they touch any one of my sales, I'm guaranteeing that they get a percentage of the commission. That's how we do it. So that's how and that's a value for the influencers and the bloggers, okay? One of my favorite questions is, how long is your average sales cycle? And typically somebody will say, oh, well, typically people will come back within a week. And I say, great, let's set your cookie duration at 90 days. And they say, well, I just told you it was 7 days. Why were you setting it at 90? And I said, because you're sending the message to these bloggers and influencers that you want to compensate them for their sales and having a super long window. And guess what? It's not going to cost you anymore because your average window is 7 days, right? Give them those extra days. Show them that you want to pay them for their efforts. All right. And then, of course, if you can show them the math, like I showed you earlier in here, you will, quote unquote, win the space on their website. All right. So that's it for me. One thing I just want to say, if you leave your card up here on, let's say, the corner here, we'll send you a checklist for our influencer marketing when we're going through the negotiations with these affiliates. Does anybody have any questions? Don't be shy. Yes, sir. Yep. So the question is, what about chargebacks and refunds? So first, my answer would be, again, on the paid search channels, you don't, quote unquote, you don't get to charge them back for the click, right, that got there. So don't treat affiliates separately. However, as with any marketing channel, including paid search, you're going to have profitability goals. And so just set those profitability goals for your affiliate channel just like you would anybody else. So if you're not achieving your profitability after those refunds, then adjust.
And if you find that you have an affiliate that is gaining,
Yeah. I love finding that because we bring two pieces of value to our clients. One is bringing in new, powerful influencers and affiliates to generate new business and awareness. The other is finding people that are doing things fraudulently. And we keep track. Like, we love it because we say, if that we took over an affiliate program. I'm sorry. I know I'm not answering your question, but I just love this story. We took over a program. They were doing $180,000, I think, a month in sales, and they were paying a 10% commission. We took it over, and we were so worried about our first call with the client because we identified about $60,000 a month in fraud. So a third of it was fraud. So we had to go back to the client on our first call and say, I know we just took over your program, but it's going to go down $60,000 a month. Don't worry, you're not losing any sales. You're just going to save the $6,000 a month that you were paying to this fraudulent affiliate, right? Just to tell you like how I love that, because then I get to add that up all year long and say, we saved you $72,000 a year this year on that affiliate that was doing things fraudulently. Yes, you absolutely remove them. We report them to the network so that the network can look at it across the entire network. The way that we're never going to be perfect, nobody is, but we consider ourselves we make it so hard and we're so vigilant about it, and you should be too. I'm sorry to say about me. You should make it so hard on these fraudulent affiliates, they stay away from your program. There's plenty of easy pickings that they can go and take advantage of. Did I fully answer your question, sir?
Getting tips for identifying earlier on.
So tips for I would say it floats to the, sorry, to repeat the question, do I have any tips for identifying fraudulent affiliates earlier on? If all of a sudden somebody goes from 0 to top 10, that's going to be one. There is, I think, a fantastic, especially in the lead-based space, I think a really good technology is called Forensic. And they can do a really good job of identifying those for you as well. And then I use Google Analytics a lot. Well, when we set up I'm sorry, I keep on doing it. When you set up your program, you should use Google Analytics and set UTM parameters and get it all the way down to the affiliate ID. Every network worth their salt should be able to pass that affiliate ID in that URL so that you can see where those sales are coming from, and then drill all the way down to the affiliate level and then take a look at the Google Analytics report and see who's generating those fraudulent sales. Other questions? All right, thank you guys all for your time.